Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on I.S.S., otherwise known as International Space Station, from Bleecker Streak. This is a pretty heady concept. I gotta say, Bleecker Streak, you're really kicking up your game. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 13, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Why is this a heady concept? Well, basically, it's about the International Space Station, and war breaks out on Earth while they're up there. Our astronauts get orders to take over the space station by any means necessary. So, very interesting. I don't think there are any weapons on the International Space Station, but obviously they would want it. And so the astronauts, Russian and American, who were friends just moments ago, now are enemies. And they're killing each other on the space station. Sounds awesome. Sounds freaking awesome. And this ain't a bad little line from the Hollywood Reporter. It turns out in space, they can hear you scream. But Bleecker Street, I mean, a lot of it's B movies. And this is, I think it's a little higher than a B movie. Obviously, it was all shot on a soundstage, but you can make this stuff look pretty good now, I think. Written by Nick Schaefer, directed by Gabriella Cowperwaith. Cowperwaith? Don't recognize Chris Messina. That name sounds familiar. Where do I know him from? But other than that, don't think I know any of the actors. So, yeah, this sounds very cool. Now, my one question would be, would the space station even survive after all the nuclear bombs get dropped on the United States underneath them, or Russia, or wherever they're above at this point in the film? I don't know. Kind of think they wouldn't. And then, of course, there's the idea, like, would anybody survive if there was an actual nuclear war? And would it even matter that they took the space station? Like, there'd be so many people dead, would you even be able to communicate up to this space station? And really, what are they fighting over at this point? Like, aren't they all going to be dead anyway? Because no one's going back up there to retrieve them. So they're, like, stuck up there. They got to start thinking about, how are we going to survive forever? Until, someone builds a rocket. Like, and you got to figure, like, let's say you got quite a bit of food. Maybe you've got some means to grow some food. I'm sure they do. Various emergency situations probably have been thought out by these guys. But getting home without a rocket ship probably isn't one of them. But possibly they might have some sort of capsule that they could pilot down back to Earth. Very, very slowly, maybe. Or just, one of those capsules that'll just fall down and hit the ocean. But then someone's got to recover them. So, yeah. Assuming, like, everything's functional on the space station, how could they survive long enough? And then maybe either the Russians or the United States save them, or even some other country. The Chinese have a rocket. So imagine this scenario. The Russians and the United States, they don't wipe each other out, but they cripple each other to the point where neither one of them can send up a rocket anymore. It just ain't going to happen. And then the Chinese go, oh, we'll send up a rocket. And the choice is either the Chinese come up there and take the whole thing, which they probably would. They'd be like, okay, we'll save you, but we're going to take the space station for ourselves. Probably weaponize the whole damn thing. Or, you have to destroy the space station with yourself on it. And there are a lot of questions here. And my biggest question would be, where are the Chinese on this one? But I don't think they're getting that deep in it. I think it's mostly going to be, you know, what do they call it? The elevator pitch, trapped in an elevator pitch, only you're trapped in a space station. But I kind of like it because this level of technology, um, is pretty grounded. It looks better than Gravity. God, I hate that movie. I freaking hate Gravity. This looks like you would have had to done some pretty serious research to make this work. And ultimately, I don't think it would be that big of an expense to make this. I think this actually would be a pretty affordable movie. So good on Bleecker, because this is very much, you could do this as a play. You really could, because they're trapped in the space station. They ain't going anywhere, and until the drama's done. I think it would make an interesting book too. To really do a deep dive into details of what may or may not happen, whether they kill each other or they work together against, say, the Chinese. That would be interesting too, right? I think the Indians have a space program too, so maybe they could dip in. But then it's like, did they all get bombed too? Maybe. A lot of questions. I like it. I like movies like this because it gets the old noggin jogging. So first act, it's standard astronaut day on the I.S.S. The Russians are coming over to visit, and they're all very happy, and they take pictures, and they talk about things. Yeah, there's tension between the countries, but that's a given. But they're scientists, and they all get along, and they have fun. And then, as they're having a party, boom, the bombs drop. War has broken out on Earth, and it's not good. It's very not good. So second act is about them trying to kill each other, essentially. It probably starts small, like they're going to cut off the power here, or they're going to take control. Maybe they have this idea they could take the others prisoner, but of course that doesn't work. The orders are take the station by whatever means necessary, because it's desperate on Earth, I would assume. So then it gets super tense, right? And it's about can we go outside and get at them that way? And the various. I mean, this is where the research comes in. You'd have to know the space station about how one side could screw the other, and then they go back and forth. I'm sure some of the people die, and then the question is, who survives? Do they all die, or does one of them survive? But it's pointless because ultimately everybody back on Earth is dead. They'll never get home. That to me would be an amazing ending, right? One of these people survives after a back and forth that's just brutal, but they've survived for basically nothing. They're never going to get back home. Everybody's dead, and that's the end of the movie. That to me would be an amazing ending. It's something that you do with a one-time movie. To me, this is a one-time movie. God forbid they made a sequel, but I don't know how you would make a sequel to this, but I guess you could work it. But I think it would be an amazing ending that way, because it would be a statement. It would be a statement about bigger issues. So I hope this movie's about bigger issues and not personal things. Some movies get too personal. Personal relationships are very important for screenplay, don't get me wrong, but big issues like this, they matter too. And so when you've got a story like this, you have a real opportunity to make not a political statement. I'm not talking about a political statement or wokies making statements or anything like that. I'm talking about a statement about humanity. about war. Yeah. So this is a great pitch. I hope the movie lives up to the pitch. Um, does it look good? It looks okay. Yeah, it looks like it could. The dialogue doesn't blow me away, but that's not saying much in a trailer. There's not enough of it here. But it does have a fairly big song. I think a Scorpion song that they play in the movie. So it sounds like they spent a little money. Because when you license a song like that, even an old 80s song, tends to mean they spent a little money on this. It looks good. It looks slick. So yeah, I think this could be good. Now, could they woke it up? It's possible. The crew's diverse. They can make all the men incompetent and the woman of color the hero and blah 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 blah. I mean, you know the drill. It could. It doesn't look that way in the trailer. So, and God forbid they woke it up. I mean, that would be a real drop off. I mean, look, the Marvels looks like a total dumpster fire to me. I would never see it. But like, it's telegraphing that, right? I mean, there's no other way that movie could go. So in some respects, it's at least being honest about what it is. Whereas this has such potential, right? It has such potential to just blow you away, to be something that people would just talk about for years to come. And so the drop off on that, if you woked it up, if you sold that idea out just to score a few points, for identity politics, it would be a tragedy. It really would. Let's see if there's a write-up here. Only in theaters January 19th. Oh, there is a write-up. Tensions flare in the near future aboard the International Space Station as a worldwide conflict breaks out on Earth. Reeling from this, the astronauts receive orders from the ground, take control of the station by any means necessary. Director Gabriel Cowperwhite, working with Nick Sharfie's Blacklist script, brings together a stellar cast that includes Academy Award winner Ariana DeBose. What did she win an Academy Award for? Chris Messina, Pilu Asbach, John Gallagher Jr., Costa Ronan, Marcia Moskova, and high-stakes thriller set entirely of the confines of the I.S.S. as astronauts are called to duty in fateful and terrifying ways. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Who's Andrea? She won an Academy Award. I don't even know. Let's see. Okay, so she's probably the lead. She won an Academy Award for what? Let's see. Played Anita in West Side Story by Steven Spielberg. Well, the film was released in December 2021 to critical acclaim. Yeah, well, like, who the hell saw it? That had to have been a bomb. She received critical attention for her performance. Okay, well, let's get past that. Question is, what did she get an Oscar for? Let's see. What did she get it? Okay. She's also in Craven the Hunter and the spy film Argyle. What was it? Breakthrough playing Disco Donna in Summer. The Donna Summer musical was her breakthrough. Okay. She was in The Prom. What did she win a friggin' Oscar for, though? It couldn't have been West Side Story, right? She also received multiple accolades, Golden Globe, BAFTA Awards, Critical Choice Award, Screen Actors Award, making her the first Afro-Latina queer woman of color to win the latter award. Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. For Woke Side Story, won Best Supporting Actress. Okay. Well, it shows you where the Oscars are these days. Okay. I mean, I'm sure it was a good performance, I guess, but really a movie that bombed. I mean, that movie had to have bombed. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but okay. And it seems like, she's very musical. Doesn't mean she's not a good actress, but seems like a weird casting choice. But okay, we'll see how she is on the International Space Station. Um, and now that makes me think. I mean, again, it could be super woke. Now she did win an Academy Award, but what is that worth? What is that worth when they're touting her immutable characteristics rather than her talent? So, but okay, yeah, Best Supporting Actress. There it is. She voiced the lead role in the animated film Wish. That's like 2 bombs, isn't it? Woke Side Story. Let me see. West Side Story. There's no way that movie made money. West Side Story. There's no way this movie made money, right? I know. I'm way off base here with my... Yeah, it made $74 million. You're telling me that movie, that's money? There's no way that's money. That budget had to be higher than that. Production budget. There it is. $100 million. $100 million right there. So, 74 million. No, that's a loss. That's a flop. And Wish, that's on its way to being a flop. So, okay. Whatever you say, we'll see how I.S.S. I love the pitch. I love the pitch. That doesn't. And look, everything I just said doesn't matter if it's a good movie. The director could ignore that. The scriptwriter could ignore that. The studio could ignore it. It is Bleecker Street. They're not a big studio. They're not Disney. They could just say, we casted her, but we're not putting any of that in the film specifically. Like, they wouldn't be under that pressure necessarily. They could be, but, maybe there's a line or two, but maybe they mostly ignore it. Which I think they should, because if they woke that concept up, that would be a tragedy. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, going off on a weird tangent. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.